Big Steve, can you finally say your team is going to win the league?
No, because they're going up against Man City.
What does that even mean? Man City struggled over this weekend, which we'll talk about. But today you could definitely say was arguably the best Arsenal performance this season and in a very long time.
I wouldn't go so far as to say a very long time. They dominated They dominated the team they played, which is a good sign. That is probably one of your competitors. So to go there and actually to put in the dominant performance that we did was really good. We played well against Tottenham, Liverpool, but today I think was a much more of a statement to actually go away and do it at another team's ground and not give them a sniff. I can't remember Ramsdale even having to make a save. It was just really dominant, even though Chelsea were poor. But yeah, good performance from Arsenal.
Oh, very good performance. Big Dunk, would you say trust the process is definitely trustworthy now? Do you think, because you have been one man that has actually called out that Arteta has the brains and he can make things work. So it takes a big man, as we all know, to accept credit for his own words. So would you say Arteta has turned it around? And of course, these guys are now title contenders since nobody wants to admit that they can win the league.
No one's going to admit they're going to win the league after 14 games, JJ. So again, like Steve said, like Man City are right there. What are they, 2 points behind? Like until they're not there over the shoulder of Arsenal, like with a few games to go, that's when Arsenal fans can get a bit excited about potentially winning the league. But yeah, Arteta, I gave him praise last season. Like, even though I understand the Arsenal lads were not happy about missing out on the Champions League, but again, I'm less invested in Arsenal and like the individual results and what's going on, so I could take a step back and just look at it. And I just like the way he was building his squad, getting in some youngsters. And again, this season he's getting more out of the players he's got. Very similar to Eddie Howe. You know, he can only aspire to be as good as Eddie Howe. but
I mean. He's top.
All right, give it time. Eddie's right there. Man City are right there, and Eddie's right there as well.
All right.
Yeah. So again, I'm just quite impressed. Again, this is his first managerial appointment since he had the assistant managership at Man City. First job coming straight into Arsenal. Fans with big expectations about wanting to get back because they've been title contenders and league winners in the past. But that takes some time. But I think he's going about it the right way, and he's got my thumbs up so far this season. Anyway,
so far so good, Mr. Hinder. We're always talking about how managers have certain systems they want to play, and then sometimes it becomes an issue if they don't have the personnel to play it. What system has Arteta actually implemented for Arsenal? And it's making, because it looks like it's just blending. Zinchenko was taken out today. Tierney came in. You wouldn't even notice. Xhaka is now making those runs and going forward. Partey seems like those hamstrings are done until the next Nations Cup. But what is Arteta actually doing that is making the Arsenal team play as good as they're doing, strategy-wise? Man
City light. He's literally got the Man City blueprint, changed a couple of things, and then moved it across. And quite rightly say, perhaps if you're going to learn from somebody, you might as well learn from one of the greatest in modern day football. I was waiting for Doug to say something.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, it's funny you say that because the system he's playing at the minute is very similar to Liverpool's for the last couple of seasons with the three up top and doing the job there. So yeah, I just think it's funny. Like, he obviously is schooled in the Man City way, but like the system he's playing is very similar to Liverpool from the last couple of seasons.
I was thinking early Aguero days at City when he was there, more with I suppose when Sterling was playing further up than he is as a wing back at Chelsea. I think that he's had time to implement it. So obviously we've got fickle Arsenal fans calling for his head, saying he's not doing a good enough job. Duncan and I were saying, let's trust that he's doing all right. I don't know what you guys expect from the team that he's currently got. He needs to be given time, and that's the same with all managers, even the Notts Forest guy, right? It takes time to implement something in order to get the best of it, but it also takes a buy-in as well. So it's not just tactics; it's a mindset. It's beyond I want you to play like this. It's how do we get to play like this? Why are we playing like this? How do we get you to trust somebody else completely to do everything? Because there's a certain level of trust in your whole team. The camaraderie is really important. So if that ethos is bed down from the top to the bottom, for me, one of the pivotal points of showing of how much trust and everything is brought in, and maybe that gives the players an extra belief in everything. It was the moment they got rid of Aubameyang. Based on his performance today, you'd never want him in your team, like ever. Like it's great on
It wasn't
FIFA,
his
by the way.
fault.
It wasn't his fault at all. But there's like the buy-in from the top. So there's this big trust thing, and I think that galvanizes the players as well, and getting to know what makes them tick, and having that level of interaction with the players, I think is really, really important. The only one thing I disagree with about the whole of the thing that you just said, JJ, was the fact that you said that Arsenal played really well. Like, it was one of their best performances. I don't think it was anywhere near one of their best performances. Chelsea were just horrendous, which hopefully will pick up as competition.
I asked if it was.
You put the words in the mouth. Everyone's going there going, Arsenal's best performance of the season against Chelsea. Don't get me wrong, going away from the bridge 1-0, perfect, right? Everyone goes happy who's an Arsenal supporter from that point of view. But the game was damn poor. Like,
so was the game poor, or was Arsenal's performance poor? I'm confused.
Three shots on target combined in that game. So let's just say the keepers were very cold on that wet, horrible day that they were playing. And I was very, very disappointed with how poor Chelsea were today. So you credit to Arsenal for winning. Credit for Arsenal for winning. They did everything they could do. Saliba looks like he's a rock at the back, and that I want to say back four, but I would say the back three, and then whoever comes in as left back, if that makes sense. Like White, Gabriel, and Saliba, they look like cemented. And then to me, left back looks like he wants to play this particular game, but there's not but that trio at the back there, playing in the back four, they're superb. Xhaka being able to play more freely than he had been before. Xhaka has never been this defensive. You look at his stats throughout all of the seasons, he's never played as a CDM, ever. But he's got this title of being a CDM. I don't know who gave it to him, of being a CDM. So I think by actually not giving him that and then saying, oh yeah, he's pushing further up the field, his heat map isn't much difference. It's still kind of right mid center of the park, but he's gotten this freedom and confidence now to kind of do what he wants and be the talisman in the team. And I think that kind of helps out from everyone else he's got around him. And Odegaard playing so well, who was quite poor today, I thought, as well. Wasn't up to his usual standards either.
Hold on one second. First of all, you're saying it was a dull game. Fine.
Yeah,
that
it was a horrendously dull game.
Horrendous game. Big Steve, do you agree that Mr. Hinder's pointing out that Arsenal didn't really do much today? I mean, you won, you got the 3 points, but he's particularly saying nobody. Are you saying nobody actually performed really well?
They didn't need to. They just did what they needed to do.
Big Steve,
That's kind of what I'm saying.
I think as a team, the way they controlled the game was impressive. That's something that you wouldn't have seen or expected from an Arsenal side from before, especially a side so young. They actually went there and dominated Chelsea.
I usually would agree, but Chelsea have been so poor with how they've been setting up the formations and everything else at the moment. They just don't look like they're scoring or playing as a unit.
You can only play who's in front of you.
That's what I'm saying.
Agree that Chelsea were poor, but the way that Arsenal managed the whole game before, Chelsea never had a sniff. Even like Chelsea did try and do something for 5 minutes, it wasn't going to happen. The way Arsenal managed the game from beginning to end is what really impressed me. Yeah, they didn't play them completely off the park and all that kind of stuff. They would create lots of chances, and Mendy was diving all over the place. But the level of maturity in Arsenal's performance was really good. And touching on your point about Arteta's differences this season, the fact that he's got Partey sitting and not trying to do it with Xhaka and Partey, he's allowed Xhaka to be more free, and I think that's been a very key difference to us this season. And as Neil said, Saliba and Gabriel and Ben White, key. A lot of plaudits are going to Saliba, but Gabriel and Ben White, either side of him, have been fantastic. Yeah,
Gabriel smashed in from 3 inches.
I always feel that there's a mistake in Gabriel though. I always feel if you can probe him, if any of the defenders are there that you can probe, it should be him, because Saliba obviously is very relaxed and calm, doesn't panic in any way, shape or form. I think Gabriel has a mistake or two. However,
he does, but
he's got a David Luiz in him, right?
Yeah, well, not just the hair. Big Dunk. Is it a problem that Jesus is not scoring? Because I know you said he will probably score a few goals this season. I mean, there's still plenty of time, just 14 games. But he has not scored in the last 7. He has played really well. He's playing so well that people forget that he should score a goal. Is it a problem though, Big Dunk? Should Jesus be scoring more? I mean, he's doing everything else right, but just not scoring. Do you
Yeah.
think it'll get to a point there to be a problem, even if Arsenal continues to win?
Yeah, so it's not exactly it's not a problem while they're winning. So he's not scoring goals, but they're still getting results. If it ever comes to it though, and they start losing form, or some of those wins becomes draws, then it's going to become a problem if he's not scoring. But like you look at his playing games, he's really influential, and he's really opening up defenses and creating chances. So it's a barren spell for him, but I can't imagine it'll go on for that long the way he's playing. Like he is quality, and he does make things happen.
I mean, the chances are coming. It's just, for example, the last game against Nottingham Forest, he had 1 or 2 chances that he should score, but he couldn't. But he's doing everything else well. Big Steve, once again with Mr. Hinder saying it wasn't that wonderful a performance. Who was your outstanding player of the day?
It's probably between Saliba and Jesus, to be honest, because there's some hold up play that Jesus done was just really, really good. But Saliba at the back was just solid. He done everything that he needed to do. But I'll say Saliba.
Well, Arsenal is looking good. They have 12 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss. Lost to Manchester United. Just putting it out there, just in case anybody has forgotten. Just so you guys know. Yes, Donk.
Yeah, I forgot to say, like, it's not a problem, Gabriel Jesus not scoring at a minute, because Neil had a word with Saka and he got him to up his game. And if Neil hadn't have done that, then it would have been a problem. So, I think Arsenal fans have got a lot to thank Neil for.
They should be thanking me for a lot for that. But the problem is, I think I might have to have another word, because his right-footed shot today went into like row Z, right? And I think he was about he basically played in real life like I've been playing a FIFA for the last week and a half. He literally missed from yards, which I thought was really, really poor. I disagree with who Steve said was man of the match. I think Gabriel was definitely by far the best player on the pitch today. He breeds
Gabriel
confidence.
the defender.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He breeds confidence in that team. Ali Saliba's getting the plaudits, but I think he's allowed to do that because of how steady that Gabriel actually is at the back. And he may have a mistake in him, but you can't make a mistake against that Chelsea team today, because you could have passed it to Havertz 2 yards out and he would have missed. They were that poor. So there was no way of getting any mistake and any loss in that one. It was so comfortable. Did anyone actually enjoy that game?
I did, because I was an Arsenal fan.
I thought you were a Spurs fan.
Behave yourself. Don't try it.
I mean, you guys have picked out some players that have looked really good. Jesus, Gabriel. Big Donk, what do you think about Partey, though? I think he had apart from that one yellow card tackle, I think he had a very good game, as in probably one of the best you see from a defensive player going forward, making things look good for Xhaka. If he continues like this, and if Arsenal continues like this, because everybody seems to be playing their position really well, it'll be hard to pick a player of the season for Arsenal. Even Zinchenko coming back and going into the middle and helping out, it's just Arteta's things are coming into play, Big Donk.
Yeah. Let's not forget Partey's had his injury problems, and he was bought from Atletico Madrid. Like he's a quality player. He performs that role of CDM very well, and that's what he was bought for. And going back to Neil's question about why people think Xhaka's a CDM, it's because they keep giving him CDM cards in FIFA, Neil. They can't make up their mind. They keep swapping between CM and CDM. But yeah, I think like again, all the things we've discussed, like Partey is a rock solid CDM. And with that in the team, he's letting Xhaka push up a bit more to perform more as a CM. And obviously Odegaard's in CM as well, and he's going to be a slightly more creative one, pushing forward a bit more. But it just seems to be a really nice balanced midfield at the minute between those 3 players.
It's very simple. Yes, go on, Neil.
I was just going to say to Steve, obviously we've got 2 games left. Well, there's only 13 games that Arsenal have played, so they've got one more game left in the Prem, right, until the World Cup. And then they'll have the Christmas turkey festive period of 15 games in 3 hours. But in January, obviously we're going to get the track. I know it's quite early, but in January, where do you think you need to strengthen?
Central midfield and up front, another striker.
Nobody's going to come in and bench Jesus.
It's not but it's not about benching Jesus because you got to think about injuries.
Well,
There's
mate,
gonna be
Ketia,
Yeah, and Ketia.
£100 a week. He paid right
Yeah,
wing the
but
other day, didn't
that's we're still only got 2 strikers.
he? Yeah.
And Ketia and Jesus, to me, I think we're a striker light. I said
Yeah.
that when we started the season. And again, I think that central midfield, especially defensive midfield, if Partey does get injured, you need someone to come in of the equivalent quality who can actually pass the ball. Yeah, Elneny's good at just blocking up play, but he can't start moves. Sambi Lokonga, again, he can't start moves. So we need someone, if they were looking at David Luiz before, they're and Tillemans, they're aware of this situation. So to me, it's defensive midfield and then a striker.
Well, after Thursday night, maybe you could have a look at Harry Maguire as a striker.
He could have done with him today at top.
All right, there you go, people.
More things